attract money. Wealth is in my reach. I got everything I want and everything I need. I keep my mind.
What up, Kingdom Builders? Welcome back to my channel. I am Ebony Yvonne, your favorite business strategist in these internet streets. Welcome to Soul Struggle Land. This is my internet home where I help you to go from confused to the cash generating boss that we both know you are always meant to be. All right, in today's video I am sharing with you all the tea on what I did to prepare before leaving my 9-to-5 for full-time entrepreneurship. Okay, so before we get into this video, if you have not watched the video on what to do before you quit your job or how to know if you should quit your job, then make sure you head over to this video right here and check out all the details on how to know when you are ready to make that jump from employee to entrepreneur. Okay, so let's get into today's video. And I want to do this video because inside of Kingdom Coins, my business accelerator, I always get asked by my clients, like, how did you know when it was time for you to go? Like, what did you do to prepare for that transition? Was it scary? Like, what happened? So hopefully in this video I can answer those questions for you and also give you a solace and peace of mind on your own journey from being an employee with that consistent, predictable income coming in every week, every 2 weeks, every month, the 1st and 15th, whatever your pay period was, to full-fledged entrepreneurship where you have to go get the bag, right? That is probably the biggest difference from having a 9-to-5 as an employee to being an entrepreneur. Like, when you have a job, you have predictable income, you know that, hey, as long as I do this specific set of skills or job roles and responsibilities every single week, then I'm going to be compensated this amount of money, right? But when you go into entrepreneurship, that is not always the case. That can definitely be the case with the right strategy. You can create systems in your business to where you have predictable income, but as an entrepreneur you have to create that, right? It's not guaranteed to automatically be there. So when it comes to entrepreneurship, you have to have the appropriate strategies to go out and get the bag, right? To get the money, to create the income, to bring back into your business and to bring into your household. So when you get ready to make that transition, I'm going to share with you what I did, so hopefully that will help you to prepare as well. The first thing that I did before I made the transition from an employee to an entrepreneur is I set myself up for success by creating a runway. And basically what a runway is it's exactly what it sounds like, right? So if you think about getting on an airplane and it's getting ready to take off into the sky, it's not just going to go straight up like this, right? You actually get on the runway, you set yourself up to actually be able to take off into the air. And that is the same concept that I followed when it came to going from an employee to an entrepreneur. I didn't want to go like straight up from 0 to 100. What I did was I created a runway to allow myself peace of mind and a cushion going into entrepreneurship. So with a runway, basically I created a nest egg, right? I literally started saving money. I saved $10,000 so that when I went into entrepreneurship, even if I didn't make $1 in my business, I knew that I would still be able to provide for several months to come. Even if there was no income generated in my business, I would still be able to cover my household expenses, all my utilities, a few luxuries, right? I could still go to Starbucks, I could still get my nails done, but anything outside of that was not factored into my runway nest egg cushion. But I wanted to plan ahead so that all of my necessities would be covered for at least 3 to 4 months before I actually decided to quit my job. And I know, and I want to say this, we are all Christian entrepreneurs, right? And sometimes God pushes you to do something and you don't necessarily have the opportunity to prepare, right? I know that those type of situations exist. So So I'm not going to say that just because this is what I did, this is what you have to do too. I am giving you the blueprint of how I prepared for the transition so that you can use it, and hopefully it will help you too. But also I am aware that there are situations where you may be in a toxic work environment and you don't have the time to sit there and continue to survive in that environment before you take the leap of faith, right? Or God may be telling you, like, I need you to quit today, right? Today is your last day. Or like, you gonna send that 2-week notice today, we done with this place, we moving on to big and better things. I am definitely aware that those type of situations happen, and you don't always have the time to plan. But if God puts you in that situation where he's telling you to move and to move now, just trust and believe that he is going to provide for you, okay? Like, you don't have to worry about where the income is going to come from, because God is a provider. That's his job. That's what he does, okay? He's going to provide for you. But if you're in a situation where you can prepare, then definitely strive to have some type of runway in place, some type of nest egg to where you are building up your savings, so that when you do go into entrepreneurship, you have a nest egg already built up in case you don't have that income that's coming in. All right. So that leads into the next thing that I did to prepare for the transition. So I worked a full-time job in my business for a long time simultaneously before I decided to transition into full-time entrepreneurship. And the reason why I waited so long is because I really wanted to take the time to make sure I had a solid proof of concept. I knew what my business sweet spot was. I knew exactly what it is that I wanted to be known for, and that I was able to generate consistent, predictable income before I left. That does not always have to be the case for everybody, but when you decide to make that transition from an employee to an entrepreneur, at a minimum, I do recommend that you at least have a proof of concept. And what I mean by having a proof of concept is basically, you know that the offer that you have, your business model, you have made money from it, right? You've been able to get leads, you've been able to make sure you have the right messaging and it's speaking to the right audience, and that you have gotten sales. If you have a proof of concept and you know that you've done it once, then you know you can do it again, right? And then all you have to do is just 10x it. If I did it this way once, let me do that 10 times, right? So if you did a phone consultation and you got a sale, it's like, great, let me do 10 more phone conversations and get 10 more sales, right? If you do a webinar and you get 3 sales, then okay, instead of doing a webinar once a month, maybe you can say, I should do a webinar once a week, right? And then you can 4x your results. But you should make sure that you have a proof of concept. You know that your offer is clear. You know that you have the right audience. You know that there is people out there who want to buy from you, and that people have actually given you money. You've made money from your offer before you just jump out there. Like, do not take an idea and like, oh, other people are selling waist trainers, I can sell waist trainers too. I'm going to quit my job today and then sell waist trainers tomorrow. And you never sold a waist trainer before. No one has ever bought a waist trainer from you. That is not how you do that, okay? You want to make sure that you have a proof of concept before you jump out there head first. All right, thank me later. Like, that was good advice. That was really, really good advice. Like, I gotta give myself a pat on the back for that one. Girl, you just be dropping these gems. So the next thing that I did before I decided to transition to full-time entrepreneurship is I paid up all of my business expenses. So if you have already started on this entrepreneurial journey, y'all know that these costs add up, and it is not cheap at all, right? So even as a service-based entrepreneur, the expenses can really start to add up really quickly. Like for me, I use Webinar Jam for my webinars. I use Zoom for my weekly coaching calls. I use Calendly to book phone consultations and one-on-one appointments. I also use I have a Wix website. I can't even think of all the different expenses that I have, but the expenses don't stop. So when I knew that I was getting ready to make that transition into full-time entrepreneurship, instead of paying for the apps that I knew that, okay, I use this in my business every single day, instead of paying for it month to month, I switched to the annual plan. So I knew I wouldn't have to worry about that expense for another 12 months. And not only did I switch to an annual plan, but I kind of staggered the payments over like a 90-day or a 3-month period. So I didn't just automatically change everything to a annual plan at the same time, right? Because that means the next year everything would be due on the exact same date, and then you have this big huge chunk of money that you're having to pay out for expenses. So what I did is, whenever something was coming up on a monthly plan or a payment due, I would switch 1 or 2 apps or softwares from the monthly plan to annual at a time. So that way, like in March, I would have these 2 apps that would be due for the annual plan. And then 2 weeks later, I may have like Webinar Jam that's due on an annual plan. And then the week after that, I have another application. So everything is not all at one time in one huge chunk. Everything is kind of staggered and spread out over like a 90-day period. So that was another thing that I did to make sure that I was ready to head into entrepreneurship, and I would have the peace of mind for 12 months on having to make that payment again, right? Because nothing is worse is going into entrepreneurship and then wondering how you're going to cover the cost of your website, or how you're going to cover the cost of maybe a Zoom meeting, or keep those up, and you know it's something that's vital to your business. So I switched everything to annual plans that I could. The next thing that I did in the transition from being a full-time employee to entrepreneurship is I made sure that I created a routine, right? And so if you have never read the book Atomic Habits, definitely check it out. It's by James Clear. And basically in the book, he talks about how you can incorporate habits into your lifestyle, and then how making small, minor changes over time leads to big results. So when I decided to go into full-time entrepreneurship, I didn't want to get complacent. I didn't want to get comfortable to where here I was going to a 9 to 5 every day, and I was used to getting, well, technically at 8 to 4:30, right? And I would get up at 6:30 every morning, have to be at work at 8, and then I would get off at 4:30 and go home, right? So when I transitioned, I said, okay, like, Ebony, we are still going to get up every morning. We're going to start work at 8 o'clock. Like, I don't have to leave the house to go to work. I could just come in here, literally come from my bedroom. My bedroom was like on the other side of this wall. Well, the bathroom, then my bedroom. But like, literally, I get up in the morning, I come in here, I make coffee, I come in here in the office, and I sit down and work for 4 hours straight every single day. And that's because I didn't want to get complacent. I didn't want to get out of a routine that I was already in. So we all know that it's a lot harder to pick back up on something when you haven't done it in a long time. So that's what I did. I basically said, I'm already used to getting up in the morning. I'm going to keep getting up. And even days where I got up at like 7 and I necessarily didn't feel like going straight to work, maybe I had like writer's block or whatever, I would still get up and go to the gym. And a lot of times if I went to the gym, by the time I come home, then like the juices are flowing, you know, I'm having these creativity bursts, and then I'm ready to work. But I made sure that I had a consistent routine that I stuck to, that I was going to stick to, and that I am sticking to, so that I don't get complacent, I don't get lazy, and then I'm not producing anything, I'm not actually serving clients, and then in return there's no money coming in, right? And that's one of the biggest things about entrepreneurship. Like, literally, you have to create the income. It's not like being an employee where you can go into work and be like, you know what, I got this vacation coming up, I ain't even gonna do no work today. Like, I'm just here and you still get paid. Entrepreneurship don't work like that. Like, you gotta put in that work if you want that check. Okay? All right, so I created a routine to make sure that I didn't get complacent, and last but not least is I set clear income goals. So I didn't want to be one of those people where I just kind of left, well, whatever money I make this month is good, right? No, I started acting as if I still had bills to pay that month. Even though I had paid everything up, I ended up paying my rent for the first 3 months all at one time. So it's like, okay, I give myself 90 days to start generating income in my business, right? But I started acting from day one as if I was dependent upon that revenue coming in. And I set clear revenue goals every single month for how much money I wanted to make, and I tracked them throughout the month every single month. Why? Because where you put your attention is where you put your focus, right? What you focus on is what happens, what grows. So if you're just working in your business and you're not really paying attention to your money, you're not paying attention to what money is coming in, what money is going out, then I guarantee you are leaving money on the table and your business is not being as profitable as it could be. Even if you have not left your 9-to-5 yet and you're thinking about going into full-time entrepreneurship, I want to challenge you to track your money for the next 90 days, okay? I want you to look at what money is coming in, what money is going out, how many clients are you getting, where are you getting your clients from, like where are you getting the most engagement and traction from, and track those statistics. Pay attention to the numbers, okay? Like my mentor always told me, business is not personal, it is math. It is all about the numbers. So if you pay attention to the numbers, then I guarantee it will help you to generate income in your business and hit your goals, hit your money numbers every single month. So that is what I did to prepare for leaving my 9-to-5 to transition into full-time entrepreneurship. If you have any questions, drop them below in the comments and I will come answer them for you. Again, if you did not watch the video on how to know if you're ready to transition from an employee to an entrepreneur, then make sure you go back and watch this video right here. It will give you all of my savvy tips on how to know when you are ready to take that leap. As always, thanks for watching. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and sharing is caring. If you have tips on helping people ease their transition from being an employee to an entrepreneur, you know my motto. Drop it in the comments. Bye, y'all.
I love what I do, and I know